Perhaps the most difficult thing that a human being is called upon to face is loving. At first, it seems really easy, and for some it might be, but for most of us it's a hard topic. Trust issues, insecurities, feeling unloved and helpless. Relationships are not easy, and it seems like we don't really know how to love in general. We are meant to know, but no one is teaching us. So what are we supposed to do? How do we change our way of loving? And what is love, really?
You don't seem to understand what love is really about. You young punks go to the movies a couple of times, do a little necking, and you think you're in love.
How can I tell how did you know when you were in love with Dave?
It's nothing like the slush they give you in the movies. You just haven't been around enough to know what love really is.
Before finding an answer to why loving seems to be so difficult, we first need to know what is meant by the term of love.
For me, it's much about caring and holding space and being compassionate and understanding with each other, and that grows connection for me.
I think for me, love is acting in favor of each other.
Love for me is, I would say, is a feeling of home and safety and the adventure of driving a roller coaster sometimes.
So defining love is already not easy and seems to be something quite individual. But what is with the consequences of not learning how to love? What are the consequences of a society with a lack of love?
I guess the consequences are spread everywhere, I guess. And for me, I would say we are already living in a society with a huge lack of love.
I wouldn't necessarily say that there is a lack of love, because I think the amount of love is always the same, because we all have the capacity of love inside of us. Love is a part of every human being, so I wouldn't say there's a lack of love, but I would say there's a lack of the appreciation or the validation of the love. And what happens if the appreciation or if there's a lack of appreciation of love, I think that's what you see in our society nowadays, because our society is not based on the principles of love. It's not like a value which the society acts on. It's a nice add-on, but it's not one of the guiding principles.
That's a hard question. The lack of love in our society is, I think, that the people are less caring for each other, that people are more ignorant, because if you love someone, you take care of someone, you see and want to feel how they are, especially when you love and you are in a relationship with this loving person. That this is losing in our society, because everybody is so overwhelmed by their own problems that they don't have time to love, that they don't have the patience to love, and that they are not really able to find or hold the space of good, honest and real communication, I would say.
A meritocracy based on the goal of profit. How is love supposed to play a big role? But living in the system, how could we change our daily life to implement sustainable love?
For me personally, it would start with more slowness and time for being present and aware of our not loving behavior, to create the space in the first place to be loving.
I think the answer is the same to many questions. I think you have to implement the love on different structural levels. So on the individual level, I think it's important to learn what love really is and to learn to act according to love. So like giving love, not for receiving something back, but just for the pure soul of giving love. And then on the other scales, like for example the political scale, it should be important that the love is one of the guiding principles. So if the politics would act on the principles of love, they would really think, or they would really act in favor of the people. So they would really think what the people need and act accordingly. And this would bring a huge change to society. And I think it would like enrich the process in itself. So if the politics starts to act according to the principles of love, then the love gets implemented into society. The value is more and more appreciated, and it's like a fruitful circle.
I will take this question really personal. What I did to have sustainable love in my relationships. I think the most important thing for me is the open communication and to be vulnerable all the time, to be an open book kinda in moments that you share with your love person, because that's the way you can have the feedback of an emotion right away from the other person. So you have the honest feedback. When I tell them something that is really deeply honest about them or about a situation and how I feel, I got maybe I hurt them in that moment. But if the communication is so great, they will feedback me this right away. So I'm hurt by that what you said. And in this way, I can handle this emotion. I can respond right away again. So there's no room for thinking of anything, or maybe this, maybe that could happen, or maybe she would feel like this, or he could feel like that, or they could feel like another version of that what's actually felt by them. So it's not this interpretation thing all the time and finding out. It's more giving a clear point, and growing with that in a relationship, in a love, is for me the most sustainable, because I can grow on that. It's like always a step forward and not backwards, because when I hold something back, the love is going backwards. Because when I hold something back in communication, I build up kind of a wall. The other person is spamming into that wall and wants to reach me, or I want to reach them, and it's not gonna be possible when the other person is not able to open up.
Hi, that's me. I'm Jelena, and I think about the topic of love quite a lot. Regarding on how to implement sustainable love, I think themesizing our lack of love in society and defining love are probably the first steps we have to take. That's why you're watching this video. But of course that's not enough. I believe we have to teach how to do it too. And that's why I started my project LackOfLove. Luckily, I'm not the only one with this opinion. Bell Hooks wrote some books about this topic too. With a book all about love, she shares psychological and philosophical ideas about love. And I used this book to come up with my hands-on guide about teaching love. Here's my first prototype. It's a guide which gives you the possibility to reflect on your thinking and behavior in all different aspects that love is offering. With small hands-on tasks, it teaches different theories and lets you explore your way of implementing love. Next to this love guide, you will find a Ritterpush. It is your little LoveMe-Pet, which will keep you motivated on your way. After starting it, you will have to care for this little creature and take responsibility. But to keep you hooked on working with the love guide, you will only be allowed to feed your little buddy when fulfilling one of the tasks. So if you forget to do them, your pet will have to go to bed hungry. If you repeatedly forget to do your task, your LoveMe-Pet will die. So keep track of them. If you keep the LoveMe-Pet alive, it will grow, as well as your ability to implement love, and you will see small and big changes in your daily life and in your relationships.